Welcome, dreamers, to World Unveiled. As the night wraps the world in its tranquil embrace, it's time to unwind, let go of the day, and prepare for a journey through the realms of imagination. Tonight, as the stars twinkle like distant snowflakes in the velvety sky, we invite you to a magical Christmas story, a tale woven with the threads of warmth, joy, and the spirit of the season. So find your most comfortable place of rest, tuck yourself in, and feel the day's worries melt away like snowflakes on warm mittens. Close your eyes and take a deep, soothing breath. With each exhalation, drift further into calmness, sinking into the softness beneath you. Picture the glow of a fireplace, the scent of pine dancing in the air. Feel the gentle touch of the winter's chill on the tip of your nose as you stand on the brink of a wondrous winter landscape. In this story, we'll discover the heartwarming magic that only a Christmas tale can tell. Let the discerned signs of falling snow accompany our narrative, guiding you to a night of peaceful, dream-filled slumber. Now, let the adventure begin as we unveil a world of dreams and the quiet hush of a Christmas long ago, yet as near as your next breath. And remember, in a world unveiled, every night is a journey. Every journey brings a new dawn. Sleep well, and may your dreams be merry and bright. The Christmas Miracle on Elm Street. Chapter 1. A Mysterious Visitor. The snow began to fall gently over Elm Street, covering the quaint town in a pristine white blanket. It was the kind of snowfall that reminded everyone that Christmas was just around the corner, soft, gentle, and seemingly full of cheerful whispers. Elm Street, with its charming brick houses and twinkling festive lights, embraced the season spirit, like an old friend returning home. In the Harrison household, the preparations for Christmas were in full swing. John and Sarah Harrison, along with their children, Emma and Max, were the epitome of a family infused with the holiday spirit. John, with his practical mind, a soft spot for Christmas, was busy entangling a string of lights. Sarah, whose warmth and kindness were the heart of the family, was in the kitchen, the aroma of baking cookies wafting through the air. Emma, 10 years old and full of life, was helping her younger brother, Max, craft handmade decorations. Wax 7, with eyes wide with wonder, hung on every Christmas story his sisters shared. Thereupon a cozy blanket on a cold winter's night. As the family busied themselves, a sense of anticipation hung in the air. Elm Street was known for its community spirit, and this year, the town had planned an array of festive activities leading up to Christmas Day. Yet, amidst this familiar bustle, something new was about to unfold. The evening grew darker, and the snowflakes seemed to dance more vigorously, as if heralding an imminent arrival. And indeed, there was an arrival. A stranger, cloaked in a heavy winter coat, his hat pulled low over his eyes, entered the town. His arrival was quiet, almost unnoticed, as he walked with a purposeful, yet gentle stride down Elm Street. The stranger paused in front of the town's grand Christmas tree, standing tall in the central square. He looked around, taking in the festive decorations, the laughter of children playing in the snow, and the warm glow emanating from the windows of the houses. Mr. Nicholas, as he would soon be known, had an air of mystery about him. His eyes sparkled with a hidden mirth, and his smile, though rarely fully shown, hinted at a deep well of joy. There was something undeniably captivating about him, innocence that spoke of old tales and wonders yet to be revealed. As he continued his walk through the town, the people of Elm Street couldn't help but notice the stranger. His presence seemed to cast a subtle, magical glow in the crisp winter air. The children, in particular, were drawn to him, sensing a kindred spirit in the joy of the season. The Harrisons, though engrossed in their festive preparations, were yet unaware of the new arrival. But as with all things, in small towns, news traveled fast. Would we be long before the mysterious Mr. Nicholas would become a topic of conversation in the Harrison household? As the night deepened, and the stars shone brightly above, Elm Street unknowingly welcomed a Christmas unlike any he had experienced before, a Christmas that promised to be filled with wonder, challenges, and perhaps a miracle. The next day, as the sun rose over the snow-laden streets of Elm Street, the town awoke to the continuing buzz about the mysterious visitor. Mr. Nicholas, as he was now being referred to, had spent the night at the old inn at the edge of town. Mrs. Collins, the innkeeper, was the first to experience his unique charm. "He just has a way about him," she told anyone who would listen. "A smile that warmed the coldest day and eyes that seemed to know your deepest wishes." The children of Elm Street were the first to approach Mr. Nicholas. They found him in the town square, quietly admiring a giant Christmas tree. His presence was a magnet to their youthful curiosity. "Are you here for Christmas?" little Tommy Baxter asked, his eyes wide and hopeful. Mr. Nicholas knelt down to their level, his eyes twinkling with an unspoken joy. "In a way, I am," he replied, his voice soft yet clear. "I'm here to experience the joy of Christmas with all of you." The children were thrilled. Word quickly spread among them that a special Christmas visitor had come to town. They shared each more fun, tossed up what Mel asked about who Mr. Nicholas might be. Perhaps a distant relative of Santa himself. Meanwhile, the adults of Elm Street were more reserved, though equally curious. They watched from a distance, wondering about this stranger who had so quickly captivated their children. At the Harrison household, the family was just sitting down for breakfast when Anna burst in, bubbling with excitement. "There's a man in the town square. Tommy says he might be related to Santa," she exclaimed. John and Sarah exchanged a look. "Now, Anna, that's like imagination, the math, chickle. The dad, everyone's talking about him," Emma insisted. Sarah smiled, her interest piqued. "Well, perhaps we should see this mysterious man for ourselves after breakfast." The family finished their meal with a sense of anticipation. That town was abuzz with a new energy, and the Harrisons couldn't help but be drawn into it. As they approached the town square, they saw Mr. Nicholas surrounded by a group of children. all hanging on his every word. He was telling a story, his voice weaving a tale of wonder. It seemed to make the air around him shimmer with magic. Harrison's watched, intrigued. John remained skeptical, but even he couldn't deny the joy that Mr. Nicholas brought to the faces of those around him, especially the children. Sarah felt a warmth in her heart. There was something about Mr. Nicholas that reminded her of the true spirit of Christmas's spirit that she feared was sometimes lost in the hustle and bustle of the season. As the day wore on, Mr. Nicholas continued to endear himself to the townspeople. He helped Mrs. Johnson decorate her storefront, shared a cup of hot cocoa with Mr. Benson at the local store, and even helped a group of teenagers set up a charity donation stand. By the end of the day, Mr. Nicholas had become a beloved figure of Elm Street. The town hadn't felt this united and full of cheer in a long time. And yet, the greatest part of the mystery remained. Who was Mr. Nicholas? And why had he come to Elm Street? The Harrison family, having witnessed Mr. Nicholas's interaction with the townspeople, felt a growing curiosity about this enigmatic figure. That evening, as they gathered around the fireplace, the topic of Mr. Nicholas was inevitable. Emma was full of stories she had heard from the other children. He's sorry he can make snowflakes dance and turn into shapes, she said, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Max, always the more skeptical of the two, wasn't so sure. About how anyone do that? He questioned, looking up at his parents for answers. John, ever the realist, chuckled. It's just stories, kids. People like to imagine things, especially around Christmas. Sarah, however, was less dismissive. She had seen the way Mr. Nicholas interacted with the townspeople, the genuine smiles he brought to their faces. There's something special about him, she mused. I don't know what it is, but it's there. The discussion continued into the night, with each member of the family offering their thoughts and feelings about the mysterious visitor. They agreed to keep an open mind and learn more about him in the coming days. The next day, Elm Street was abuzz with more tales of Mr. Nicholas's acts of kindness and small miracles. He was seen helping an elderly lady carry her groceries, each bag seemingly becoming lighter on his hands. Later, he was spotted at the local school where he enthralled the children with stories that seemed to come alive right before their eyes. For the Harrisons, the stories were becoming too intriguing to ignore. After dinner, they decided to take a stroll through town, hoping to catch a glimpse of Mr. Nicholas. As they walked, the festive lights of Elm Street bathed them in a warm glow. The snow crunched under their feet, and the sound of distant carolers filled the air. It was the perfect Christmas atmosphere. Finally, they spotted him. Mr. Nicholas was standing near the Christmas tree in the town square, his gaze fixed on the twinkling lights. The family approached cautiously, unsure of what to expect. Good evening, Sarah greeted warmly. The family was taken aback. You have? John asked, his curiosity piqued. Yes, Mr. Nicholas said. You are much loved in this community. It's a pleasure to meet you. The conversation that followed was unlike any the Harrisons had experienced. Mr. Nicholas spoke with a wisdom that seemed beyond his years. Yet his demeanor was humble and kind. He asked about their Christmas traditions, listened intently to their stories, and shared a few of his own. As they talked, the Carsons couldn't help but feel a sense of peace and joy. There was something about Mr. Nicholas that was both comforting and inspiring. It was as if he embodied the very spirit of Christmas. When they finally parted ways, the family walked home in a reflective silence. We were all thinking the same thing. There was more to Mr. Nicholas than met the eye, and they were eager to discover what that was. The following evening, Elm Street organized a small, impromptu gathering in the town, inviting everyone to come and enjoy some hot cocoa and carols. The event, sparked by the recent arrival of Mr. Nicholas, was a testament to the renewed sense of community spirit in the town. The Harrisons arrived at the square, finding it aglow with fairy lights and filled with the sound of laughter and singing. The townspeople had gathered around a large bonfire, sipping hot drinks and sharing stories. The atmosphere was electric, with a sense of anticipation in the air. As they mingled, Sarah noticed Mr. Nicholas standing off to the side, observing the festivities with a contented smile. She nudged on, and together with them and Max, who approached him. "Mr. Nicholas, you've brought quite a change to our little town," Lam John said, extending his hand. Mr. Nicholas shook his hand warmly. Just happy to be part of your wonderful community," he replied. Emma, always bold, asked the question that had been on her mind. "Can you really do magic, Mr. Nicholas?" The townspeople nearby turned their attention to the conversation, curious about his response. Mr. Nicholas chuckled softly. "Magic is all around us, Emma. It's in the joy we share, the kindness we offer, and the wonder in your eyes as you look at the Christmas lights." But the crowd seemed to want more. Sensing their expectation, Mr. Nicholas looked around, his eyes twinkling. "Would you like to see something special?" he asked. A murmur of excitement swept through the crowd. Mr. Nicholas stepped closer to the bonfire, and with a gentle wave of his hand, the flames slipped up, changing colors from orange to a soft, and blue. Gasps of amazement echoed around the square. Then, with another wave, the snow around them began to swirl, rising up in delicate spirals. It sparkled in the firelight, creating a magical dance that left everyone in awe. The children soothed with delight, and even the adults couldn't hide their wonder. Harrisons watched, stunned. What they were witnessing was beyond any logical explanation. As the display came to an end, and the flames returned to their normal glow, Mr. Nicholas turned to the crowd. "The true magic of Christmas," he said, "lies in our ability to bring joy, light, into each other's lives." The crowd erupted in applause, the air filled with a renewed sense of wonder and happiness. The Harrisons walked home that night with a lot to think about. The magic we had witnessed was real and tangible, and it had come at a time when the town needed it most. Mr. Nicholas was no ordinary visitor, and it was clear that his presence in Elm Street was going to make this Christmas one to remember. In the days that followed the town square event, the impact of Mr. Nicholas's display of magic continued to resonate throughout Elm Street. The townspeople spoke of little else, and the air was thick with a sense of wonder and expectation. The Harrisons, like everyone else, found themselves deeply affected by the experience. John, once a skeptic, now pondered the possibilities of what they had witnessed. Sarah felt a renewed connection to the magic of the season, something she felt had been missing in recent years. Emma and Max were abuzz with excitement, their imaginations running wild with possibilities. The mysterious Mr. Nicholas, however, remained a humble presence in the town. He continued to interact with the residents, offering words of wisdom and encouragement, his actions always seeming to bring out the best in people. One crisp morning, as the town prepared for the upcoming Christmas festival, Mr. Nicholas was found in the town square, helping to set up the decorations. The Harrisons joined in, along with many other townspeople. There was a sense of unity and joy that had been felt in Elm Street for a long time. As they worked, Mr. Nicholas shared stories of Christmases in far-off places, of communities coming together. In the spirit of this season, the magic that lies in simple acts of kindness. His words had a profound effect on those who listened, inspiring them to embrace the spirit of giving and togetherness. Later, as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the snow-covered town, Mr. Nicholas called everyone to gather around. He had a special surprise, I said, something to officially kick off the Christmas festival. With a wave of his hand, the Christmas tree in the center of the square came to life. The lights flickered on, not just ordinary lights, but ones that shimmered and changed colors in a dazzling display. But that wasn't all. The ornaments on the tree began to move, gently spinning and twinkling, as if alive with their own Christmas spirit. The crowd gasped in amazement. Children clapped and cheered, while adults looked on in wonder. The Christmas tree had become a symbol of the magic that Mr. Nicholas had brought to Elm Street. At night, as the Joyces walked home, they reflected on the events of the past few days. The arrival of Mr. Nicholas had changed something fundamental on Elm Street. He had brought a sense of wonder and joy. It transcended the usual holiday festivities. Emma looked up at her parents, her eyes bright. "You think Mr. Nicholas will stay for Christmas?" she asked. Sarah smiled, squeezing her daughter's hand. "I don't know, sweetheart," she replied. "But I do know that he's already given us a very special gift. He's reminded us of the magic of Christmas." As they reached their home, the Harrisons felt a deep sense of gratitude and happiness. They didn't know who Mr. Nicholas really where he had come from, but they were thankful for his presence in their lives. Elm Street, with its twinkling lights and joyful atmosphere, felt like the most magical place on earth. And so, the stage was set for the unfolding magic that would come in the days leading up to Christmas. Elm Street and its residents, with the Harrisons at the heart of it, were about to experience a holiday season unlike any other, a season filled with surprises and perhaps